Hello, everyone. This is Makiko from Reiki Lab. How are you? Today, hello. Hey. Today is a welcome event. The friends who like Andrew Bartzis. And I understand there's a mixture of people here who are very familiar with Andrew's material, as well as who just came here for some important reason, and someone in between. Yes, we heard of it. The various degree of knowledge and interest here. So I'm gonna quickly introduce my experience with Andrew, and I'd kind of like to go around a table. Maybe whoever else want to go next, definitely welcome. So this is Makiko. One of the reason I get to know Andrew because of the series of event happened, and I just wanted to get to the bottom of it. And one of the few people on Earth, human form, who have a direct access to a Akashic record on Earth and all other planets, including 66 other planets, with a vast knowledge, is Andrew Bartzis. So I wanted to get his read on not just everybody else's perspective, but I also wanted to know what planet recorded of my action and event. So understanding that everybody could, not everybody, people have access to Akashic record on Earth and anywhere else, but it always looks through the colored eye, right? Because we are all human, or being also has a perspective. However, because he is a master of this Akashic record correction, he has perhaps one of the most neutral perspective. So I wanted to get the record on what Earth recorded in terms of my action, my past. So that's one of the main reasons I got to know him, and I got one reading and then one free reading the other day. So I'm quite happy about that. So that was me with Andrew. And I just want to pass the mic to Zakaru because I know you're familiar with him as well. So I kind of like to hear your experience. Go ahead.
Just to keep it short, I had a government stuff has been a theme in my life, and and the pain and like this divinity pain we're talking about that I know now is part of it, but I had reached out on some of these other blogs. One was the IUV website, if you know that website. It's a pretty cool website, and I was responding to a blog about what will end this government and stuff, and the tyranny, and we can go into that, but they forwarded Andrew my blog. Somehow Andrew picked up on it, and he actually personally wrote me back on an email, and I didn't know who he was. He just gave me a couple links that was like a synopsis, kind of like episode 1 of Lance White. It was a condensed kind of version back when, I forget his one moderator, the guy had like a Argentina accent or something, I forget his name, but was asking the question. But anyway, it was like a 20-minute video where he was explaining his stuff, and so that took quite a while of listening to that to understand it, but once it finally started setting in, then I started watching more of his videos on YouTube, and it started resonating with me because I really wanted help. I wanted help to feel better, and so I just expanded out of that and got into the soul contract revocations and the fire ceremonies, and it's just been very healing experience for me. And it's just scratching the surface, but it's really been wonderful. And I did have that reading too. We could talk about that later, but he just resonated with me, and when he would talk, it would be like just somehow really vague, way back in there somewhere. It's like I know him. You know, it's like I actually kind of know him from somewhere. Like we're really best friends somehow, and that we've never even met. And then I had a few dreams with him in it and stuff, which got kind of weird on their own right. But so I don't know if that was really him or if that was some kind of stage dream or whatever. But his teaching, it just is so wonderful to find out our pure history on this timeline and other timelines.
Yeah.
You know, to really know what's going on is a blessing. And so I know he can be scary and he's intimidating, right? Because he can just pump stuff at you that, right? It just like you don't even know what to say in response, right? But
well, he did that to me on a radio show.
yeah. Well, I could. I mean, bless you, man. I mean, he just really is intimidating in person. You can see other people that interview him too for some of these other shows. They're just like, he can go so deep, so fast.
Yeah.
And his knowledge is so vast. It's just like you don't know what to say.
I agree. I wasn't fully ready when my first reading. He took me all the way to different planets, and then next things I know, the 2 million and then a billion, and just I think the vastness and scale. So if you're not ready, you know, are you wasting a minute, I guess. But I also feel the people in Andrew Bartzis community, I feel closeness too. It's a strange feeling that many of us were probably crossed many lifetimes to, you know, whoever gathered around him. So it must be something, because David Woods, I think David was also saying the same thing as you did. He knows Andrew from somewhere.
Yeah, I feel that same
Which
way.
one's David?
And a lot of his teachings resonate with me as well, in a lot of the same ways as Zaka.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
I totally resonate with all of that. And you know, I wanted you to know that I do have a copy of all of his soul contract and revocations and whatnot. So if anybody is interested in that, let me know. Or if you guys want us to read one, we can do that too.
Yeah, I think you're going to be a great person to read, because I wanted to read Divinity, the feminine revocation.
The soul contract removal to free the divine feminine.
Feminine. I think that's a great one to do. Hold on, Valerie. I want you to do that, truly. I think you're going to be a great person to do it. Why don't I ask you, Valerie, how do you get to know him, and what really draw you to this community?
You know, I was just kind of like stumbling through the YouTube videos, looking for answers, and I started listening to him, and a lot of what he said totally made sense to me. He talks to me like a friend, you know, would talk to you. It's easy for me to understand, although sometimes a little above me. I do have to re-listen at times to get it. Yeah. But I do get it, and that's the best thing about it, is that, and that he gives you these things to say that make you feel like, I mean, if you don't want to be impacted by things like the media, the government, things like that, this protects you. And these revocations, these removals, things like that, they really make you feel better. And that's what I've found out. So that's pretty much my interaction with him. I have not had him do a channel for me or anything like that. In fact, I can't even find where he does that anymore on his site. But really, I think just listening to him so far has been really good for me, and maybe I really don't need the channel part. So anyway, I enjoy him immensely, and I think everyone will if they listen to his YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I thought I'd share, though, it's not really channeling.
Yeah.
You know, there is a distinction there.
Yes.
And so I just thought I'd share that, you know.
Yeah, it isn't really channeling, is it? What do you?
No, it's not channeling at all.
But he does talk individually to each person, and he will
Because what he does is
goes into your Akashic records. Is that
yes,
right?
immediately he
Yeah.
connect your energy vibration. That will open up the particular Akashic record.
Mm-hmm.
So he's reading directly from Akashic on a planet, not a channel.
Right.
So that's a huge distinction. That's why sometimes it's different from channel the information and his information. So
channelers can be hijacked.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of technology out there where channelers aren't really channeling who they think they are.
Right, and he has been so many places and been through so many things. It's just amazing just to hear him talk of his own story and what he has agreed to do in this lifetime. And I know I thank him immensely.
Yeah,
it's quite the thing he's undertaken.
He went to university, right? I mean, that's I mean, it's not like he just. So I just want to make sure. This is an interesting topic, though. He talked about the timeline genocide, and this is something that it's important for us to understand the concept. So, time is very unique to Earth, and understanding the mechanics of genocide maybe partially answer what the difference between channeling and versus what he does. So interestingly, time could be uncreated, meaning that could be like 480,000 years, could be zapped.
Yeah.
Right? How do you?
That's what I was telling you is that I just registered for his timeline or time travel webinar.
Yeah.
So that one should be very interesting too.
Yeah.
To find out a little more about that, you know.
We should probably open that discussion later. But what happening is that Earth is the one that the Earth being is the one that did that. That's one of the main reasons there's a Hollow Earth and an Ascended Master. They are like a prime crime, whatever the time genocide people. What happened is I'm not going to too much of the mechanic. If for the time or Akashic record to exist, there is the person who actually doing something, and then a person who observing, right? And then there's a planet that observing, and that become Akashic record on planet. If you remove any of them, well, if you only have one actor, let's say you're the only one acting, nobody observing, including yourself, it's become uncreated. It's that you don't exist. So if the tree leaf fall, right, and you hear the leaf falling, you hear the sound. But if nobody is there to listen to that sound does not exist.
Yeah, that's kind of like the double slit experiment if you want to get into quantum physics.
Yeah, that's the basis of quantum physics. That's what I was going to say too, yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly, you guys are right. But that's what happened.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what happened to the timeline genocide. So now be careful because divinity path, like, you know, if you think, I think you are, as we come out from mother womb, we know the remote viewing capability. Now, if you begin to do that, you could be quantumly entangled the things that you observe, just being observing remotely. And that's how all the karmic pollution created, and that's what all the mystery school created. You know, you could go deeper and deeper, but this is why we are here now, to bring everything to 0 point. We're just gonna clear everything out. So, you know, let's focus on the time now, and now let's not do that again, right? This is the 5th time. I don't want to do this again, right? 4 timeline genocides. This is the 5th time we need to do right. That's how important it is now. That's part of the Andrew's teaching, you know, if you want to believe it.
Well, he's not the only one who teaches that. I've read that in multiple places, so.
Excellent.
I'm a believer on that one.
I had never heard of him, to be honest. I'd never heard of him, but I had channeled that information about breaking soul contracts. And I had a big discussion with someone, and I was saying, you know, I was using the term Kobayashi Maru from Star Trek, which is I consider to be the third way. You know, if anyone is laughing, they know what that is. But I had just channeled all this information, and I had had this big discussion with someone about it. And then the next day, your hangout came up about the last one you did. And I said, wow, that's a great confirmation, because I had never thought about it before, but we were talking about soul contracts, and I just got the information. Forget the soul contracts, break them. That if it looks like this is one option and this is the other option, then there's always that third option. Just break the rules and step outside of the plan and say, okay, you know what? I'm not accepting these options anymore. I'm going to go for the third way. That's sort of the Kobayashi Maru kind of thing from Star Trek, but that's the only terminology that I came up with at that time. But then when I saw the thing from Makiko, I said, oh my gosh, and I wrote it to you, didn't I?
Yeah, that was a thing. And you know who did the same? Wendy.
Oh, did she? Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So it was just, I got that information, I think it was the 21st of December or something I got that information. So when you started talking, I said, oh, who is this guy? You know, so now I have to really go back and listen, because I don't really know who he is, but he sounds amazing. So since
enjoy the ride, because Zachary and then I've been doing this. I've been doing it pretty consistently on and off, though, maybe almost close to year. And then more you do it, more it sinks in, and you know that which one you need to read at point, and you're going to create your own. And the thing is that, though, the contract revocations, the way he writes, the word and the sequence of the word has a specific meaning, and like a light language, there's a vibration to it. So there's a reason why he used that particular word in that particular sequence. So I want you to read with a voice, loud, with the energy behind it, and you read again and again until that whatever that's coming at you going to go off from the peripheral energy field, because it will, like an ocean, it will come in and go out, come in, you'll feel it, and every time you feel it, you push it back, and until it's completely gone, and then you will feel it. I mean, amazing thing happened to me. After more you claim your sovereignty.
Yes.
So it's a powerful tool. I think it's a very powerful tool, and Karen, you would enjoy it. I mean, if you could like read it to us, some of the time as a chunk, because it's tough. It's
I'd love to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to read, especially in the beginning. The whole thing. One of the reading I couldn't pass. I cried and crashed, and it took me, I think, like 3 weeks, because I couldn't look at it for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was too painful. It was like right here. I was like tearing down, because I know that's true.
I think that's the big lesson, isn't it? The lesson is the lesson. Some people think that the lesson is the soul contract, that you have to accept the soul contract, you have to figure out a way to make peace with it or do it. But I think this is the information I got, and again, I'm excited to read this stuff, that the big lesson is to realize that if we say we create our own reality, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
It means that soul contracts are just part of a reality that we can choose to participate in or not participate in, and that we can step outside of it. And I started calling it the third option, or the Kobayashi Maru. That was just because, but I totally resonate with this so much. So I'm so excited to read this information. So anybody that has anything, please send it to me so I can.
Yeah, so I post everything in my Facebook note, but I could post in Andrew, the Facebook page that created the friends who like Andrew Bartzis. I could post everything there under the notes section, or whoever has post on a Google Hangout. It doesn't matter, but I will do that tonight.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the great teachings too I found with the revocations is your Andrew says, read them with bravado.
Oh yeah.
And read them from your true heart space. That's when to do it repetition,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that those words actually become meaningful to you, and you can read it from your true, authentic self, that it means something real.
Well, that's the
You know,
intention
that's
setting. You have
boom.
to set it with the intention. It's just
That's
like
right.
they teach you in magic, or you know, acting. Acting. If you're looking at the old Greek tragedies, those were really magical incantations that the people were doing, and the reason they would read them with such authority when they would say, you know, the gods are talking, and they would talk, they were really doing it with that intention to make something happen. And anytime we set an intention, it shouldn't be, you know, oh, please let something happen. You speak something into existence with the belief behind it and the power of yourself that brings it down. I mean, we have this voice and we have this force within us. We have to use it. It's almost ceremonial, but that's exactly what
that's it. That's exactly, it's a ceremonial. And I love your mic, Karen. I think everybody should have that.
Well, you know, I'm in America and I live in Holland, and usually it's sitting here. I just brought it with me, so I have to go. I'm not usually this one.
No, I love it.
Just carrying a mic with me, so like this.
I need a mic like that. It's cool. It's an awful thing.
$39 off of eBay.
Oh.
She's a radio star.
Ah, that's it. We all should be that. Anyway,
I'll also put up a link for the mic. No problem.
But we have to read all the contracts, like each contract, like one at a time, for one thing at a time, for several months, correct?
You know, that's a big thing. I mean, go ahead if you can do that. I will take it as a chunk. Just pick up the one that most resonate you, because what happened is that, I mean, in my case, I needed help from the element. Like, I did a lot in front of fire. I also use the water. It's like a ceremonial things. And if you could read like a whole thing, like exactly, I think you did. I couldn't do it. That tell me something, right? But I was so much under the influence, and very personal things. It's really up to you how you're gonna do it. And then we are all here to help each other. And it also good to pick just a one theme each hangout, and let's put it out there so it sink in and that you could digest. Because you're not just leading to you, the 30-dimensional body, you are leading to other multidimensional selves, right? Those are hearing too. Also, observers. I felt it. Observers, entangle or unentangle observers are there and listening. And they bring more contract on top of it as you read. So it's important to take it a chunk, because you will feel it when you read it.
How does it feel?
Oh my gosh! Well, my kid. So one thing that happened to me physically, feel the weight going off, and then also my well, it's going to be very biological, but my period came back in sync with the moon, which never happened before.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm connected to moon, sensory connected, and of course Mother Earth. But I never felt this close. I feel the moon, and that's how powerful it is. So you bring back to the natural self. Not influenced by, because I was like, must be so influenced with this, you know, fake world. My body begin not to feel, you know, the natural cycle. So that's one. But also I had a more contract. I realized, so the contract, that revocation we do, is that this is the basic level of contract revocation. Once you peel the outer layer off, I had so many contracts on top of my head. And then I discovered, my God, this is from my transient time? I get this from this time, this is from this time. And I got so many contracts from observers, which I didn't know. If I didn't do the revocation, the basic revocation, I would never find this out. So that was my experience.
But it's a process.
Yeah.
You know, you ask, how long do I have to read it? You just do it. Yeah. And you find yourself through it. And it's so powerful and wonderful. But it's the process. You just, the only thing you can do wrong is not starting.
I feel like it's so funny. I'm just like getting into what is karma, what are contracts, and now I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, now I don't even need to learn about it. So.
Well, I think, for me, that's where, I started off unknowing any of this, didn't understand any of it. So it's just the process of understanding the terminology and finding your sovereignty through the process, through the ceremony, that karma starts to make sense. Like karma never made sense to me, but now it kind of does, And so it's just doing it.
Really,
So-
it makes total sense to me. But anyway.
So I'm gonna keep seeing the JD. JD, I think it's your turn.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, well, where should I start? I didn't know about this guy. First of all, that's all I can say. So how did I end up in this hangout? Makiko posted on Facebook and I was invited, basically.
I think you're quite powerful being, and then I kind of welcome your perception. You kind of heard already what it's kind of about, and I kind of want to ask you what you would like to know, like to get out from here.
Well, I have been sitting and listening, and I think I found my reasons why I'm in this hangout, first of all, and also maybe why I don't know about this guy before, because but what comes to me is to I'm brought here today to get back to listening more to myself more than focusing on channeling. I found out about channeling because I was supposed to find out that that's channeling. Like that's a part that exists because I have experienced something that I can confirm with myself that was another entity jumping into my body, and I've seen it, I felt it, and then I found out about Hukalo, and it was for me to just find out about channeling. Like it's a real deal. It's something that is normalizing. So back to myself. Then here I am having feelings about starting to talk from my heart again, from not focusing on other entities right now, because I thought that was the thing, and I've been for maybe a year now, like mixing myself with the thoughts of other entities being influence in my life, which I know always is, but I don't have to focus on it so much. That's my lesson of this year. Now realizing that I should start again with speaking for myself, thinking for myself, and considering myself all the time. Like,
Yeah.
because I know I am very intelligent, because I grew up like being to me, what it seemed like the guy who could do this stuff. I don't know what that means, but it's like I could play the guitars, I could play the piano, I could sing, I could play the drums, I could fix the computer, I could fix the car, I could make the music, I could, all this kind of stuff that just was in me, and all the other people around me seemed to have like problems with it, and I was like, what's up? What's this? How am I special? Why do I feel that I have so easy time to do all this stuff that other people can't seem to do so easily? And so I started to speak, basically. I started to speak since I grew up with this talent. I started to speak from what I believe, and I didn't know so much about the spiritual back then. It was just from me, from my experience, that I'm seeing that the real evidence that I can do things easier and with less effort about everything, and just, you know, and therefore I could just speak from my experience, and I was doing that for a long time, and I got really good at it. Then when things were really good, when I really started to recognize that there are some other spirits helping me with these people, I would say, because this happens when I speak to people. Like when I cared for them, I really wanted to find a solution for them. Then I just started to speak, and I spoke and I spoke, and sometimes I don't, it just flowed, it was flowing, and I don't even remember what I said, and I was like, then I stopped, and then I don't even remember what I said anyway, and it was like, and then I felt like somebody's here with us listening now, and then, all these, I started to recognize the sensations starting, but that came from speaking from my emotion. I started to recognize my emotions, first of all, speaking to these people about what I think would be the right thing to consider to do, maybe, or to think, or to feel, or to solve. And
well, that's wonderful, Johannes. I really appreciate your viewpoint.
yeah, so I think everybody should consider just to focus on really what is to you, that is what it is, what.
Yeah.
And you don't have to care, like almost like in a funny way. I have to say it, like, because it's brought to me in a funny way, and I believe it's funny. Like, fuck it, like, fuck it, fuck what other people say, really believe in what you really believe in, and you will know, it will be like so clear to you because you're honest to yourself, and hopefully to other people, if you would speak the truth.
Yeah. Well, you just did. Before we started, when you just connected, you basically said it, right? And you just confirmed what I heard already, and you basically set the example to trust yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And this will bring you somewhere where you have trusted yourself to be, and that place is right now here, which is wonderful. It is so amazing. Don't forget, it is so amazing to be here right now. Don't forget that. But anyway, our plans is to do something. Therefore, we have this life to make this amazing thing that is gonna come. It has to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just has to.
It's refreshing still, though, to hear from other people's mouths. That's wonderful. And then you could speak up from your heart, and that's very refreshing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add one thing. And it's very important that the sacred neutral perspective is a neat place to try to get to in expressing your power, your personal sovereignty, and to be free of judgment. Accepting all that whoever somebody else is, where they are at. You do not judge that, to be able to express from the sacred, neutral, unconditional love place.
Oh, thank you.
It's a neat place to get to,
So whenever we read this revocation, it's coming from love and without any judgment. That's a neutral perspective. Because what happened is when you're very upset, right? When you are in a polarity, you stop, put it away, and come back when you're ready. So this is why it's a very personal thing. So Andrew's teaching said, don't do the group reading because everybody has a different place, different energy frequency, and then, you know, different place, like a not neutral in a loving way. But the reason I did last time, oops, am I on the air? Okay, it was speak so loudly, I must do this. And then we had a right group then. So this is why I read. And Wendy needed to hear then. That was a raw contract revocation. That was amazingly intense revocation. I think that all the Hukuro member probably get benefit out of. That was very compelling. Now, I'm also seeing the Harris. I think you probably the next one want to speak. If you could unmute. Harris, are you ready?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Blessings to you all and much love. I've just been listening on, and I was eating and cooking and eating, so I was back and forth. But I didn't do my homework before coming though.
No, there's no homework.
so now it's about contra revocations, right?
Yeah, no, that's good. Anything gonna go.
Okay.
I think you have something to say.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're just chatting. All right, good.
Yeah.
Okay. What would I say? All right. Contracts. Okay. Contract is everything. As I'm talking to all of you, this has been contracted already, so that's why we're playing it out. So that's kind of like a general thing of contracts, you know. They can be. It's very loose. It doesn't have to be written on stone. However, if you have contracts from lifetimes, it tends to build up what you call it, energy, and then that it feels like it's written in stone, but it's not. So it can be as simple as this is a contract of all of us, and one of us could say, no, I couldn't make it. I'm not making it. That's it. It's done. About it. So it can be as simple as that, and it can also be as intense. If the contract, that. So it depends on what you resonate with, because we are all individual variety of the whole world. So it depends on what you resonate with. I think Michelle, you said thank you with the question mark.
Hey Harris, are you walking? Are you playing with your mic because you have a hard time hearing you?
Is that better?
That's right. Yes, a little better. Yeah.
Is that slightly better?
It's much better.
Great.
Much better.
That's great. Yeah.
It's much better. Oh, okay. Do I have to repeat everything? I forgot.
Well, no, it's okay. That one reason I found you it's so perfect. I keep hearing my ego. When I was practicing his revocation, it was difficult at beginning, and I kind of hoping that somebody like Eminem, like a rapper, could do some kind of beat and put like energy behind. So we just have to do it, It's just like, wow, this is so cool, I can't wait to do this revocation. I could almost hear it. Eminem is reading or singing this revocation. And then I met you, Harris, and you are a rapper. So I thought, my God, he could do this. He could read this in his own, way. So that's
something out.
Yeah, I think that would be so cool. That you could pick from like a short one, like a raw contract revocation. I think that would be really neat.
Yeah, I'll be excited to do something on that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Harris. Would you like to add a little bit more, or you want to come back in a tail end?
I I wanted to say something to Michelle.
Go ahead.
She had a point somewhere, and because she was like, I'm just starting to know about karma and all this stuff. I'm starting to understand it. I'm starting to like that shit, and then now I don't need to know it anymore, which is perfect. But I just wanted to say, if it resonates with you to actually go there and understand more of it, you can do that. So you don't have to kind of do what other people are doing at the same time. Or you could do both. So you don't need to skip it because now you know you can skip it. Or you can say, okay, I don't need this anymore, and then you can skip it. But do go with what you resonate the highest, because we are all very, very different, all unique divinely. So we want you to be that unique divinely. So what you resonate. I just wanted to say that, Michelle, because she had a question mark. She wasn't sure, so I had some things to tell her.
Thanks, Harris.
No problems. Much love.
Hey, Sarah. Thank you, Harris.
All right. Thanks.
Sarah, would you like to add something?
Not so much. It's just good hearing all the perspectives. I have my own perspective about things, and those contract revocations, they're interesting, and I can feel the energy of it. And I'd like to tell people, it's just, if you're seeing your life go in one direction and you wish for another, you could just move forward in that other direction. And so I understand the significance of the contracts, but just like the contracts, it's a permission slip to move forward. You understand? And so use them if you wish.
Well said. So this is a tool, and this is a teaching, and then I guess that one of the reasons I have this group is so that we could share if you wish, and then and the more tool you have, the more different teaching we have, it's will be serve us better. So
No,
absolutely right. It's not so much I am pushing this out. It's an offer. And then so, but I just want to say this: the revocations are put it out. It's really not so much about the individual soul contracts. So that's why I want to make sure people are not misunderstanding. So each of us is very unique in our own things before we come down here. It just happened to, I remember before I came down here, my situation, which is a kind of, I thought it's odd, but then it's not odd at all. Then when I met Andrew, it resonates so much about all the things he said. Actually, all the YouTube links, he has that with Lance White. This is all free. And that's probably a main teaching. You don't even need to become a member, because that's almost all material is out there. And it was all like, almost like I knew most of the things he's saying here. That was a strange thing. Why I know it, but because I lived through it. And then that's kind of drew me to the contract revocation. So I don't want you to, I guess this is a contract revocation. So it's just a one basic thing, just like, how do you say this? Almost like reading a curriculum before you go into school, right? And then his teaching, it's not really contract revocation. I just want to make sure. And then it's a different perspective too. So it's very nice to me. It's a very nice mixture of what I learned from out here and what I learned from Andrew, and here I am. And you are all the time the one that pick what is the best for you at the moment.
Yeah, And this whole contract removal to free the divine feminine is more about women regaining their strength in themselves.
Yeah.
You know, getting rid of the things that have dominated women
Yeah.
in a male-driven world, I guess you want to say. So I believe it's a really healthy thing for all men and women to
Yes.
read.
Thank you. So I think that's like really coming from the Mother Earth as well. And then Valerie, looks like you are kind of ready to start reading. I don't want to push you, but I kind of feel
Now,
that.
if anybody doesn't want to listen, that's okay too. You know, I mean, you don't have to, right?
Yeah, well,
So,
anybody could mute
and
up,
you
but
can also read it just to yourself if you'd like to, where she has it posted on the Facebook page too.
yeah,
This
but
was posted there, right?
I think it's a right time to read. And then
Okay, I'll read
again,
it.
and then Valerie, I just want to say this is not because you're female or male, because we are all done
No,
it.
that's what I said. It's great for men and women.
And
Yeah, because we've all been everything,
yes,
right?
we are male, we are
Mm-hmm.
female, we are both, we're anywhere
Right.
in between, right? I was
Right. Yep.
one of my lifetime I was both. So and then we are all kind of both.
There you go.
There you go. All right.
Okay, so is everybody
Whenever
ready, or
yes, whenever you're ready.
I was going to say, does anybody need a little break before we start? Because this is kind of lengthy, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take couple of deep breaths. And
I'd like to see the link because I'd like to follow along, but I don't know.
Oh, okay. I could send you. Let me see. You know what? Let me post this.
Okay.
Okay, first, so everybody has right in front of it.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Is this in the stuff you brought in November? Is it in that packet also?
November?
Yeah, at Sabrina's house?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I already have that printed out. It's right here. Okay.
Well, there you go.
Okay, here you go. I have in a PDF file have everything on it. Why don't I post that one, which has everything? I'm not everything. It's just a full basic one. I need to just find it here. Just give me some moments. Oh, here you go. Reference. I collected so many different contracts, so I just have to pick the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not.
So Michelle, you're welcome to read it too if you'd like.
No, I think you are the one that gonna read this one.
Yeah, I'll read it.
Okay, if
maybe we could share it.
I was gonna say I'll read it like with my mic off.
Oh, do you know if anybody want to take up
Unless you want me to read it, I will.
Well, I'm just saying it's really long, so if somebody wants to share part of this, it would be pretty good.
Sure, I will.
How can I post this in this chat box? Can I do that?
If you pull it from your Google Drive, you can.
Oh, I see. Okay, I could do that then. Right.
And then you have to share it, though. And then people will click on it, and they'll go, I can't open it. And then you'll have to share it.
Okay, I have a link here. Now, how do, where did it go?
Yeah, that's a good idea, Karen. We can all read a bit of it. That sounds wonderful.
Wait.
So let's see how far I go here.
Okay, that's good because I am struggling to share this link. I need a tech person. Oh no, I posted here. Oh, good.
You got it on there.
Yeah, do you see?
Okay. It works perfectly.
Okay,
so
now
who wants to go after me then? Michelle, do you want to go after me?
Oh shit! Did I do something?
Yes.
Oh wait,
Yes,
Am I posting on a web now? I mean, broadcasting this contract revocation?
No.
Oh, yep, you are.
Right. So
You're not broadcasting it until I read it.
I'm sorry. That's why I know.
Until we read it.
Hold on. I'm gonna go to the page so everybody could actually see it as we did. How about that? I didn't know we could do stuff like this. It's pretty cool, huh?
That's excellent.
No, I mean, really didn't know. Did you know that? This is cool. Okay, I'm ready. Everybody could see, right?
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And I'm just gonna stop when it's your turn, Michelle.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The soul contract removal to free the feminine divine. I call to all spiritual contracts that exist within my past, present, and future beings, selves, and existence in this dimension and time stream, and all the time streams above and below the earth-centric sine wave of coexistence at this exact moment in the ever-present co-creating moment. I summon all DNA lineage ancestors to create a unified, proper spiritual court of equity, so I may find remedy and resolve with all contracts that have inserted fine print during the pre-birth and birth process.
I call forth the proper spiritual court of equity to hear my decree of contract removal. I revoke all spiritual contracts with earth-based religions, cultures, belief systems, and industries that dominate and control the divine feminine power in our world and create an energetic imbalance that affects every man, woman, and child on the planet. I call forth all ancestors of the soul relation to hold space in that spiritual court of equity. I call to Earth Mother and all her light denizens within all inner and outer space to come forward and occupy the spiritual court of equity. O great mystery, who is the source of all power, I call to you. Come with your sacred synchronicities so that all beings may hold space in unity consciousness. I hereby revoke contracts of all religions and cultural belief systems that place the feminine in a dominated position of inequality. These include projections of unequal pay, the inability for women to earn a living, own land or business, or receive an education of her choosing. I do not consent to the feminist movement that was created and funded by the CIA to separate a woman from her divine feminine power, foster a hatred for men, and create separation and division in the soul family unit. I hereby revoke all cultural belief systems that create the expectation of, quote, a woman's duty, unquote, to hold an unrealistic burden alone and suffer in silence. I do not consent to all social policing systems that have been put in place to make a woman feel like she is too sensitive, too emotional, or out of control in an attempt to gaslighting a woman's soul to make her feel like she is unstable or insignificant. I hereby revoke all contracts of cultural belief systems where female children are murdered at birth, sexually mutilated as a supposed rite of passage, sold off into billion-dollar child pornography industry, or trafficked as sex slaves. I do not consent to the porn industry that has been a breeding ground for sexual perversion, spiritual contracts, and the exploitation, degradation, victimization, and bastardization of the divine feminine power. I hereby revoke all spiritual sexual perversion contracts that are targeted at separating a woman from her divine feminine power. All group sex and polyamorous programs that are perversion of the divine sexuality aimed at making a woman feel that she is somehow, quote unquote, not enough. All double standards and cultural belief systems that were recreational sexual promiscuity, multiple wives, harems, and mistresses are allowed and celebrated for a man, but cause for social ruin for a woman. All programs that create projections that men put on women while masturbating, as well as perverted fantasies that are used as barriers between the heart space of a man and a woman in a sacral sexual bond. I do not consent to these spiritual sexual perversion contracts. You have no power over me. I hereby declare that Earth Mother is in dominion with me, as well as my soul family and my ancestors. I declare that I am now clean from these projections of sexual perversion, and I return to the source of innocence as the divine feminine sovereign being. I hereby revoke all contracts and concepts created in innocence or blissfully ignorant states of being. I hereby declare a new form of spiritual and physical cleanliness. I revoke all previous self-created concepts of cleanliness or any perverted attachments to myself. This new invocation of cleanliness removes all previous concepts of sacred sensuality, recreational sex. I bring them all back to the 0 point of the fetus in the mother's womb. I reconnect all my DNA strands to that of the heartbeat of the Earth Mother. The sacred feminine is connected to her heart in her sacred feminine space and does not deny her menstrual cycle. She accepts it as a time of introspection, retrospection, and reflection. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the entertainment and advertising industry that has created programs of self-hatred, low self-esteem, self-medication, self-mutilation, eating disorders, etc. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the medical industry that have damaged a woman's health and ability to reproduce according to the natural laws of the Earth Mother. Birth control drugs and other chemicals in our food, water, and air that cause sterility or over-sexuality, as well as clothing that is damaging to a woman's health, such as bras, heels, corsets, bound feet, and tampons. I revoke all birthing contracts created through C-section, pregnancy drugs, prenatal, x-rays, vaccinations, incubations, children who are not put on their mother's heart after birth, removal of the placenta, and the cutting of the umbilical cord, which can stay intact for up to 4 days to allow for the child's heart to bond with the mother and father. I revoke all contracts that force a woman to carry and birth a soul that is not of their co-creative divine choice with their selected or bonded sacred masculine. This includes rape victims, teenage pregnancies, and forced arranged marriages. I return to Earth Mother, the natural incarnation grid. I now permanently delete the reincarnation grid from my soul's existence. I do not consent to all programs aimed at making women feel too fat, too thin, too old, too young, too black, too white, too ethnic, too poor, too rich, or any projection at all that makes a woman feel that she is somehow not good enough. I hereby declare that I am more than good enough. I am infinite consciousness. I am God, Goddess incarnate. I am a sovereign being, and I hereby reclaim my divine feminine power in this spiritual court of equity. I call forth all the ancestors to honor this reading of my free will and enter it into the Earth Akashic Record for all sentient kind to understand our freedom comes with the use of free will at all times.
Thank you, Michelle. Wonderful.
Thank you.
And you were the one that was supposed to read it. That hits home for most women and most men because it touches our lives on so many levels. So many of us have had to endure things that no one should ever have to endure. And it's up to us, way showers, to stop this, to start our new earth in our reality. And using the soul contract, we have just did that. I thank each and every one of you for being here with us today. What would you like to say, Zach?
Well, I was going to say it was so wonderful to witness and hear the healing that was possibly initiated or just took place for Michelle, right?
Yeah.
Michelle, that was beautiful.
Yes.
Feel your authentic self.
My gosh.
Coming through.
Yes.
Michelle needed to feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt it along with her. Makiko felt it.
Yes.
And I don't know how many countless other people felt it. It was very powerful. Very powerful.
It's really powerful. I want to bring my screen back. I can't. Can anybody see the screen now?
I can see you just fine.
You see it? Am I the only one not?
We see you just fine.
Oh my God, I'm crying and then I cannot see myself. Okay.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to do anything because I don't want to shut this down. So I just want to leave it open as it is. But Michelle, I think you really needed to read that today. And then
it feels like it. It just crushed my heart chakra into 1,000 tiny pieces.
Sweetheart, you have to do that in order to open. Remember that. You're rocking that shell open.
Oh, I'm totally cool with that. It's wow. I didn't like that was a really powerful thing, but when I got to the end, I was like, I mean, it just
I've read it many
broke my
times.
heart, like wide
Every time I
open.
read it, yeah, every single time I read it, I have that same powerful effect.
yeah. Well,
Just wow.
I mean, I felt yours. Go ahead, Karen.
No, I was just going to say so much of this stuff, like just in the, I just had a conversation yesterday with someone about sex and multiple partners and all this stuff. And I said, you know, I believe sex is a sacred bond. I believe that it's something you share. It's an intimacy in the truest, most pure way. It needs to be not exploited. I'll tell you, I had a very weird situation that happened a week ago where I was in Florida and I was with a man and his wife and another friend of mine, and I couldn't believe like how this man was like expecting all of the women around him, and I didn't even know this person, to be, you know, sort of sexually with him. And I was like, whoa, I don't know you. And I thought, why is it that, and the other two women that were there, quite willingly, including his wife, which I couldn't believe at all, were just so quite willing to step into that role of wanting to do whatever they could to get his attention. And I just thought, I don't need this attention from you because I'm so much more, and I don't want to share that part of myself with you. Not because I'm a prude, God knows, believe me, and you know, out there listening in TV land, I am not a prude sexually at all, but I don't share, really, I don't share myself with people that I don't choose to. And I don't need that kind of feedback from you for me to feel like I have value. And I really was kind of like, and I said to my friend, who is this person to degrade everything about me down to this one denominator? And it really was so, you know, it was exactly what was in this thing. And I was like, yes.
That's exactly how I feel, Karen, and I applaud you. Well, I applaud you. There's more to a woman than just her looks or just her body. And you have a brain. You're a very smart woman, and you caught up on that right away. You're awake. So let's, you know, I look up to you. That's wonderful.
Well, thank you. But I mean, but for all women, it's like value yourself.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So much time in business, you know, so much time in business, men will diminish you down to your looks or whatever, a flirt, and if you don't flirt back with them, you're threatening to them because they're not able to control you in that way. And it's, in some ways, it's so defeating as a woman to have to sort of, you know, you don't have to, but to have to deal with that constantly of, you know, don't try to make me less.
Maybe I should start a new hangout for how to set boundaries because I'm really good at it.
Well, no, I have the boundaries. I don't have the problem, but
I don't mean you. I just meant in general, like bringing this topic up.
It's so
no, because she's right. Because there was only you.
It's so much.
Because it sounds like only you were the one that was awake at this at the party, whatever you were at.
It was incredible. I mean, this guy, and I hope he sees it, grabbed my breast, and I said, "Hey, dude, take your hand off my breast."
Oh.
And he was like, "Yeah," but I mean, they were like dancing, you know. And I thought, and I stepped back and I said, "Listen, I am not going to participate in this part of the night. you know, and I was kind of stuck there because we were really far from home. But I did not expect it to go that way. I thought we were just hanging out. It was just a nice group of people. And I thought, and my friend who was with someone who's not her husband, and again, don't judge me, but she's with a married couple, whatever, their choice. But I said to her, these people don't respect you. They're not respecting you. Is this really fun for you?
Well,
remember,
maybe they were
they're under
swingers.
the-
You don't know.
Huh?
They're under
Some
the
people-
influence of the duality.
Yeah, yeah.
They're under the influence of that. So, remember that I feel it's important not to judge.
No,
'Cause
I know.
they
but
don't even realize that they are pawns.
Well, again, it was just being so willing to, well, one, it was the fact of a woman who was not married to the person being into the man, even though she was not married to him. So she was willing to participate in any way that she could to get that attention. Her not respecting herself enough to say, you know what, this is a no-go area for me because I'm not part of their relationship.
Well, there's some strange stuff that goes on out there, like the swinger thing, and you know what I mean?
Who's respecting each other? Nobody's respecting each other in that. The man is not respecting the women. The women are not respecting themselves. And I was just like, whoa. I don't want to be part of this. And for the very reasons that were outlined in this
the contract revocation. So
contract revocation. I mean, it said it to the T. I mean, I wish I could have read it there. And I was
right. So this is like a great. So this is what it happened. This is a great example of a release of resistance by reading it. Just reading it, and you just heard it, and you heard this much impact. Wait until you read it yourself with your energy. Now, as the emotion comes up, make sure you're in a neutral point. When I listen to the story, I feel not sorry. I think that all of them there has a great lesson. And Karen, you learn your lesson, and you set your boundary, and you know who you are. Now, those people, they are being themselves.
Sure, of course they are.
It's okay. You are there to assist them. Hey, that's being spiritual, whatever. That's who they are. Now you recognize what's going on right away, but not to them. And there's a great lesson for them to learn, for their lifetime. So it's great for them. So first of all, I don't necessarily disagree with the married man going after women or vice versa. That's the life lesson. That's what happened. What is important is that this is a valuable tool, and use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
And then, you want to try you first. What kind of change you feel, how your energy change, and then as you read more and more, you are healing yourself, your multidimensional selves in a different time stream, in the past, current, and future. And then this is a kind of a cycle, as we all know. Once you feel it, and you feel you get better, and you come back and you realize there's another area that you need to heal. And it's the cycle of the thing. When I read Revocation, I feel so much on the female one, not too much on the masculine. But then now I read the masculine, I feel even more. Actually, men are even more under this influence and domination and control. They don't even know who they are anymore.
That's right. The pornography. That's what that was all created for.
Yeah.
Sexual energy is one of the most powerful energies a human being. The skin suit, with our soul inside, our electric thoughts, our magnetic emotions. I've actually measured sexual energy now at climax. There's we have an energy field like arm's length all around us. Drunvalo Melchizedek has does some research on this, heart math and stuff. At climax, it's 50 feet all around you. they can measure this energy now. And so to create discordant sexual energy is the power for the mutant matrix. It's their food, it's their energy, and we become their battery
Well, what's
to
interesting?
power the mutant matrix.
What's
So,
interesting?
you know,
Tampa, Florida, which is where I was, there are more strip clubs per capita there than anywhere else in the country. And when I say this, and maybe Sarah understands it a little bit, but it is such, and I was explaining this to my mother just yesterday, and I said, it is such a different dynamic between men and women in that city than anywhere else I've ever lived. Every man there, and I'm really serious about this, goes to a strip club very often. Women now there really, they are competing constantly with that imagery of strippers. And it's just the businessmen, they go there for lunch, they go there for a night out. I've had to go to strip clubs with men, with groups of men, like in the industry that I was in, because that's where they go. And I would sort of go and be like, okay, things would start, and I would like bow out and leave them there. But you're constantly in that thing where the energy dynamic is so weird. It is.
And I think too that each man and woman in that setting with pornography, they're each having their energy harvested to an equal degree.
I think so.
Victimizer are the same two sides of the same coin.
But you see, relationships in that area are so difficult to hold on to. It's your lives in general. It's really a different energy. Anybody want to go and spend some time in Tampa and really get into it's such a different kind of thing. And it's just, for instance, it's just different. I noticed it, and I hadn't been in Tampa like hanging out for a while. But as soon as I got back there, I'm like, yep, here it is. And because I'd been removed from it and went back to it, I could really see the differential. And it's such a real thing of that male-female dynamic that is so skewed. And it keeps people busy from dealing with other stuff.
Yeah. It's a good point. So there's a like a Tampa is America, but it's a different, among different places, they have a different flavor, a different program. I'm from Japan, and it was extremely testosterone oriented. I was continuously be touched since I was tiny, and then I couldn't go anywhere because it's like everywhere. There's no privacy, and then so there's no place to report. Like the train, like in a high school student, I was in a train almost every single day. I was molested in a train. Only way I could report is grab the man's hand to bring in front of the police office box and hey, this man just touched me, arrest. How can I do that? First of all, it's a crowded train. I mean, they're so crowded, the door can't even open most of the time. And there's no one could help. And then that's everybody knew it, and then for some reason that's the norm.
And that's just one thing in Japan, because I visited also, and I noticed like the highest rate of like it was so interesting.
Yeah,
like,
it's
culturally speaking.
It's a pink street everywhere. It just it's
like
so much
little girls. Women dressing up like little girls. It's very interesting.
Oh, that's more like an influence of a manga comic. But yeah, it's a lot of things going on. But it's a part of the program. Actually, it's been done by United States after the World War II. Right. That's a part of the program that United States installed because they don't want them to become like a kamikaze. Become very active in the military. So they did a 3S, whatever the program. That's one is a sex.
It's the same thing in Cambodia, Vietnam, anywhere the empire has invaded. They instill the system of domination control.
That's right. America did a very good job.
Yeah, that is their job. United States is the war arm of the trifecta between London and the Vatican.
So
London's business, Vatican spiritual, United States is the military.
Yes, there's the United States are one of the major programming host and invaded many different area systematically. It's quite amazing, this domination and control. Well, yeah, you're right. It's not just United States, the Vatican, yes. And a Roth family, that group, right? So that's all come back to, I guess who can remember knows very well too. It's all linked. But Japan is definitely done well by United States programming. That's what is one of the end results. So I won't be surprised Tampa, that area, it may be some kind of under experiment, right? With some kind of different programs running in that area.
It was where all the sailors came in. It was very much
military.
That's it. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, Karen. It's a good point that you picked that up.
Well, it's just for me, it's just such a weird dynamic because having come into it, and I thought, really, what's with all the strip clubs? You know, what's with? I mean, there's like 7 or 8 in a clump in a row, and then they have them. I mean, it's just it's just a big thing, and so many of the girls, you know, if you watch what people wear there, how they dress, what they, you know, do, it's just because of this
competition.
Idea. Huh?
Competition.
Yeah. Have you guys noticed the little girls' clothing now too? Like for the last decade, 2 decades?
Oh yeah.
I like the dresses I wore when I was a little girl. You know, they were really frilly and, you know, pins, you know, smocked and long and full, and you looked like a little girl. And then when my daughter was 10 years old, the little girl's clothes started getting a little sexy. You know, like, and then remember those Bratz dolls? Those came out when she was like 10. And those were very sexy. Like, and so they started making clothes like that. And, you know, that was supposed to be the, you know, quote unquote norm for girls to want to live up to kind of situation.
Well, it ties in, for me, you know, this will tie into the media revocation.
Yeah,
because it's just not the pornography industry, it's
a media,
television,
advertising, it's everything.
Yes.
At us constantly at every venue to have this discordant sexual energy.
Hey,
it's thrown at us at every step, and that's how powerful these revocations are and how important they are for us to feel whole again. You know.
So, Zachary, I'm proposing maybe you should do the media and a government one, you know, in the next one, next time, because I think media is quite powerful.
Yeah.
Also, the government, I think that's put us in a different place. It's really dark, but it's important. They have time travel revocation, and then industrial complex, right? And then media is quite powerful too. I also have a troll, internet troll. So while we interacting the system, this is also the system too. Anything especially free, that has a lot of spell to it. So we need to make sure, yes, we interact with the system, we cannot get away from it, but we need to also revoke. Each time you've been influenced, you're revoking. Internet troll is very important. I have that revocation. And then
the psychic parasites.
Yeah, but it happens.
There's a lot.
Do you realize, especially near Christmas time, you go into the internet, you kind of really exhausted.
Yes, the stores too.
Yeah, that's why I didn't get close to the mall at all that time.
Yeah.
It takes such energy out of you. So those are in store. So each day they have a program run. Like a Monday it's blue, Tuesday is this, and Wednesday is that. It's all the program. Although the archon grid is gone, all the programming is still here. Still keep.
The artificial intelligence,
Yes. So that's keep running, and each time we are connecting to it. We are connecting it. It's important that you are aware of your own energy, how it's being influenced each time we interact with the system. And if you feel it, you revoke it. And this is how powerful it is, and you will feel it. Like go ahead.
And to read it and to feel it, you know, we're freeing ourselves, we're reclaiming our personal power, but we're also helping all of humanity because of the morphogenic grid. You know, we're all tied in. All of our
Right.
consciousnesses are tied in. You know,
Yeah.
you could look in the 100th monkey experiment for an explanation on that kind of how it would work. There's a tipping point, and so by freeing ourselves helps free everybody. You know, that's how important it
Yes.
is.
So one of the many of the revocations, especially the raw contract revocation that I read quite often, I am revoking anyone from first, second, third degree of me. So by doing that, I'm freeing my immediate family in Japan. Anybody who interact with me is the first and second degree from me. I am revoking for them as I read. So that's an important point. Just doing it to yourself, we actually freeing others that interact with you.
Andrew said too on the first, second, third degree. Is that Jillian?
Yeah.
First, second, third degree of separation.
Yeah.
Also approaches the artificial intelligences.
Yes.
You know, you must declare your true source date stamp of creation, or you're not real, and you can't entangle with me.
That's right.
You know?
If they don't have their time frequency from the place you spark from, if they don't have a time frequency where they the originally came from, you are not real. You have to say that.
Yes.
You'll feel it. That is how powerful it is. Hey, I see
it's very
that.
powerful.
Hello, Jill. I thought you cannot make it.
She can.
I'm so happy to see you, Jill.
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, I've never done this before.
That's okay. I'm glad because I was waiting for you to come in. Yeah.
Sorry, my computer froze. I was a bit late, and then my computer froze, and then I have children to deal with, and
I'm sure.
That's never ideal.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. So we've been discussing this for a while, and then after Michelle read Divine Feminine Contract Revocation, all the women emotion came up,
I'm sure. I'm sorry I missed it. I'd love to do this again when I can be there on time.
Oh, don't worry. We'll be doing a little bit more media and a government contract revocation, and if I can do the mystery school revocation as well as a little bit more detail, though this mystery school may be tricky. I may not gonna do that. Let's do the media and the government, and then raw contract revocation. I think that would be good. Hey, Jill, would you like to share your experience with Andrew now, or you want to reserve that for later? I don't want to put you on the spot.
What experience do you mean?
We kind of did a round table because it's a meet and greet. So I basically introduced how I got to know Andrew, why I got his reading, and then I know you're a pretty active participant. I thought you have a lot to share, and we could really learn from you.
Basically, I don't know really what's happening on my screen. I've got you all very little at the bottom here. I've never done this. As long as you can hear me, that's fine. I found out about Andrew through somebody called Vinny Eastwood. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I'm sorry?
Vinny Eastwood. He's a alternative media guy that's a Kiwi, a New Zealander.
Yeah,
and
radio
he interviewed Andrew. Yeah, he interviewed Andrew, and I was hooked after that. And then I watched all the just about everything that I could find on Andrew, and yeah, still following him. There's another guy called Chris Thomas, I think it is.
Oh,
does anybody know?
Oh, I forgot.
Who also reads the Galactic Records? Is anybody? Is it Chris Thomas?
Chris Thomas. Okay, I don't know.
Let's think. Anyway, I've been comparing a little bit of the material. They seem to look at it. I don't see it as necessarily contradicting each other, but they seem to look at it from a different angle. And it seems anybody who reads the Akashic Records seems to look at it from a different angle, from their own perspective, which is interesting. It's not necessarily that either of them are contradicting, but yeah. Yeah, so just anything else you want me to say?
But Andrew's talked about that before. That's why it's very important that he talks about, I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong, but he approaches it from the sacred neutral, so that he can get the true story. He says as soon as he puts his opinion in it, then the whole storyline changes.
Yes.
It will influence the information that he's getting from it.
Yes.
So he
That's
works
right.
very hard to stay sacred neutral, to
Yeah.
just
Yes.
read the information. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that, Jill, because he's leading to the other divinity past being, and his reading to me it's different because my frequency, the vibration, that's why he connecting at that moment, and the message to me is the most beneficial message to me that point. So that's why it's slightly different. So he also emphasized that sharing is not necessarily encouraged unless there's a certain point we need to share, right? We need to stay on our path because your story in ascension doesn't help me, vice versa. But there is a sometime commonality that people will share, such as the basic tool teaching, which is a revocation. That's something we could all share because this is so fundamental to claim our sovereignty and being with Earth Mother, right? It's not being influenced by all other things happening. And then also artificial intelligence. Who wants to be influenced by that? So those are the common denominator that we could all share. But anything beyond is just a reference point. And I think you hit the nail on that. I don't know what else, but we are kind of getting. I just want to make time check. I think we're still fine. Anything else you want to share, or if you I don't want to put you on the spot. You just join.
At this stage I don't really have anything. I'd like to join again, and then I might contribute. But at the moment, I'm happy to just listen to what you guys have to say. And meet you guys, and just say hello.
Hello, I'm so happy to meet you finally.
I've got a little thing over here because I have a little piece of tape over my camera most of the time. I don't often use it. So if it keeps flapping open, that's what it is.
Okay, so I think, Jill, I know you were on a radio show too. I was on a radio show, I think at the same time. I didn't listen to your part, but I was asking him about the divinity path as well as divinity birther. So that's something I think I have a common with Zakaru, and then I kind of like to share that with him if time allow. And this is something I'm not sure how many people wants to hear. That's why I just want to seek your opinion. When you had a reading from Andrew the other day, is there something you like to share with us at this point?
It was definitely a health related one. I had a reading with Andrew when he had, do you remember when he did a whole lot of readings over a period of about 3 or 4 days? Yes, I had a reading on that, and I found out a little bit about my soul and where I'm from. But I've not been able to get any more information on that, which was that Manta's being an incarnating soul, and you know, I haven't actually been able to do anything practical with that information. It's been very interesting, but you know, this time around I asked Andrew more about my health, and he led on to other things, which was to do with, you know, what I did for a living, and just more things that are practical that I can actually do for myself. I wanted to approach other questions. I asked about things like Fukushima and the radiation, and you know, what do we do about the food we eat? Unfortunately, I missed most of your interview. You know, I've missed most of it, and we haven't had the replay yet, so I'd like to listen to it.
Yeah, no, I replay mine because he taught me the mantra, which I shared with Zakaru. And then I also wrote it down that what is the definition of a divinity birth, and then I was asking him the revocation for that because I'm just so tired. I'm just exhausted. I feel like I'm here like a million times, and
And what is the definition of a divinity birther? Is there a short way to put it?
Oh, so divinity birther is basically the you are contracted to give birth to very powerful spirit. So it's known as God or whatever here on earth.
Mm-hmm. So is somebody like other royalty divinity birthers?
No, I mean, ooh. I don't think
I'm asking the wrong person. Good question.
that's really, I mean, royalty like in a queen
Yeah.
of England. I
Of
don't.
England or anything like that. They're not necessarily giving birth
No.
to powerful spirits. So
Mm, no,
is that what you are? A divinity
no.
birther? Is that what you are?
I'm both in a being,
Are
divinity.
you both?
Yeah.
Both divinity being and divinity birther.
Birther, yeah. But once you, I mean, not now. Well, I shouldn't say not now. But once you are, you can't get out of it. That's what the Andrew said in the many reading,
okay.
and I didn't like that reading so much. And then I went back to, it gotta be the vocation for that, right? But then,
Yeah.
but that didn't go that direction. Direction didn't go that way. He explained, and then I realized why so many things happened to me in this way. So it's
Yep.
putting more greater understanding, and it be more grounded, I guess.
Have you had a personal reading with Andrew?
I did.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I could afford him.
No, I mean that's what I mean. Did you?
I did already.
You did it and you found the money somehow, and you did.
You know what I did? I made it like a half an hour instead of 1 hour.
Oh yes. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I hope he's gonna.
Still working on it.
I think he has another like a rapid reading. I think I was called on like a $7 reading last summer, but I didn't take it that time.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he will do it again. And you could get onto the radio show, probably.
Yes. Yeah. So I've spoken to Andrew twice, which is good, but I'd like to have a personal reading.
Yeah.
Because the questions are always mount up, even like especially after you get some information.
Yeah.
You want more. You want more.
Find the money.
Yeah. And I've got to work on myself, but my biggest problem is being very, very busy as a mother of 3 young children, and also working for a living, basically scrambling to make ends meet every month, and renovating a house, and it goes on, and trying to find the time to be meditative and all that is almost impossible.
Yeah, but you have reading from radio show. I think that's a lot chunk to swallow, and I think my experience. It's better to do a little bit more digestion and then meditation on that, because when Andrew reads you, it comes. I mean, he hits you.
Yes.
So much that you really want to have all the question ready. And what do you want to get out? When he said this, what do you react? Because he could take you whatever you want to go.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Because he's giving you the answers. But no, his reading to me was, if you get to, have you had the replay yet? I haven't received the replay.
Yes, the replay is available.
Where is it? I've been looking for it.
Oh, you just go to the radio show. You have a link to the radio program, right?
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
Normally he posts it out. Normally he lets you know that the replay is available.
Oh, I never get that.
When I go to the radio show, it looks like I've actually got to pay for that.
Yes,
for the archive.
Yeah, but the $4.95.
Is that all it is? Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's just that my husband controls the credit card, and I can't actually even use. I mean, I use cash, and which is pretty useless on the computer. So I've got to go, and he's working all night. Like, he works till late hours. I've got to find him when he gets home and get the credit card and just pay for it.
Remember that invocation. You have your own. You need to control your own domain.
I know, but it's just the way it is working at the moment.
I think he will be okay for $5, don't you think?
Oh yeah, that's fine. But normally it's posted out, and that's what I've been relying on.
I don't know.
It goes onto YouTube at some stage.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, My connection with Andrew's website is bizarre because every time it is connected, my internet gets shut down if I listen to his show often.
Ah, interesting. Yes.
Yeah, just his. So it's so strange.
Oh yeah, yeah. They do. Like he says, there's no coincidences.
No.
That's interference, they call it, if by malevolent forces, perhaps, or whatever.
Yes.
They actually call me. Comcast called me.
Oh.
What are you doing? Are you the person browsing and all the question? And I said, why I have to answer this? They stopped my service.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has anybody else had issues like that?
Yes.
You have as well.
Yeah.
So I don't get any message from him. I have to go in and get it.
Okay. Right.
I think on his Facebook page he will post when the replays are available, because he was making the replays available. I think they're on YouTube.
Really?
The replays of the radio shows, yeah. The first few have been available as replays. So you can maybe just go on YouTube, and I think he still calls it Adventures in Reality.
Yes.
And it'll have the date, whatever Monday's date was, and the last Monday and the Monday before. So I would imagine he's still getting those on.
Yeah, it just hasn't come on yet. That's all. That's the only reason I haven't listened to it. But
it's usually a few days after.
Do you know what time? Because I download the whole things, but I can't send you because it's too big. But if you know, I don't know when I could run that for you next time we do Hangout.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to post it. He's been regularly posting them.
Okay.
After. Yeah. Because the show's on a Monday. Well, in New Zealand it's on a Tuesday, and it usually happens before that next show. So I'm still waiting for it. If not, I will find it. I'll probably pay for the $4.95 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm
get
sorry.
That's all right. It's all good.
But it's about.
So how long does this go for?
I'm sorry. How long?
How long?
I think it's pretty long. It's almost an hour and 40 minutes. Yes.
Yes. Is it a 2-hour hangout? What is it?
I think. Well, hold on. Zachary, is it Dorian thing is start from 8?
Yeah, that's coming up in 20 minutes.
Okay.
Right.
So we definitely want to get out before that. But you have a time. I mean, we could have a time. If you want to talk a little bit more, Andrew, that's fine. I didn't listen to the time traveler things. We could talk about that.
I just thought if I could throw in real quick, Jelena, you were talking about, and you too, Makiko, you were talking about how you get the reading, and his co-host from time to time, Kathy.
Oh, she is.
She's like Oriental descent. You know what I'm talking about? Kathy called him a freight train. He's the freight train of information because he just comes at you and bowls you over, And I remember when I had my reading, and it was like the next day I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot to ask him this. I forgot to ask him this. So again, I felt like, oh man, I blew it, But, like you were saying, Makiko, give it time and just keep digesting. If you recorded it, if you didn't, you just recollected. If you have some notes, and just keep digesting that, going back over.
Yeah.
Allowing all that information to settle in.
I listened so many times. Now they also recommend you to have some stone that calm you. So you could actually be present. If a certain thing, it sometimes hits you so far away and you don't even know where you are. You don't want to be like that because every penny counts. If when you're paying that much money, you want to make sure.
That's right, yes.
Right? So something to calm you. I had this. It really helped me, this one here. This is an obsidian rainbow. Have a both sides. Yeah.
It's an obsidian bowling ball.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
It's actually rainbow, and you can see it, but it's go all the way here, and it comes from so you could see the rainbow one. But I had this.
Is it calming or grounding that you mean?
Both. Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because the first things he said, see, I wish I was really more talking to you guys who can remember, but I didn't know I was in so many different stars. So he said in the ocean and stars, and I didn't even listen to that. And then I listened to the next thing. She said, what? 2 million years ago? And then I didn't even go back. Wait a minute. You said stars. Which stars? I should have asked that. And then I know the ocean was very important. He also mentioned you were in the ocean too, and then why I didn't stop and ask that, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he told me that I was, he told me I'd connect him to the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, but what that
I don't know what. Something bad happened, but I didn't ask. I should have asked, but he said something in a past life happened, and so I have a fear of water, which I said I avoid water. I do. I've spent most of my life making sure I live as far from the ocean as possible, and we have a swimming pool for the kids, but I never get in it. And he said I need to strip off and get straight in the water as soon as I finish the interview.
He says something like like a crazy things toward the end of the reading. He said, well, you are co-creating phase, and if I don't gain like a 15-pound of muscle, it's going to be quite turn negative, and say 15 pounds of muscle. I mean, that's impossible.
Yes.
But he says stuff like that. He said very.
It was interesting. Yes. He does say it takes you on a spin a bit. I've got to brew some alcohol. I don't like alcohol, so I've got to go and brew some alcohol. Don't even drink.
But again, this is your choice. You're just gonna take it or not take it. And if
absolutely. Do what you need, what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. It's a difficult.
To find your power and to feel that coming back. Makiko, I think you've experienced that, and I have glimpses every now and then. It's so amazing. It's so worth everything that it takes to learn it and do these ceremonies. You're talking about brewing, Jill, just now, and I've seen him talk about that before, and it's like, oh my gosh, now we got to learn this, and then now we got to learn this. But just take a deep breath, allow it in, and the feeling inside that can come reclaiming our power, and it's for all of us. It's just so divine that it's beyond just any description I could put to it. That is so wonderful, and I thank Andrew and Makiko for starting this group. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. The one of the reason I wanted to have it is because his material is not easy to digest. And he says stuff like very freely, and in each word, what is that? And it takes like forever to understand it. And
each word is a whole subject.
It's a whole school. And then I was like, shit, if I knew this, my life could have been so much easier. And then I'm sure someone out there, if you're listening, Andrew, understand a lot more, one thing, but not understanding this. But if we could come together and then share that understanding, it would go so much farther.
Yes.
Well, I think he said something interesting to me just in this radio interview. Basically, I was looking for information, and he said that the information's not going to come to you. It's kind of like it's not going to come to you because I need to work on other things. And it's kind of like when I listen to his material, there are some parts of his material that my mind drifts, and I've had to try and re-watch it about 10 times, and every time I go back to it, my mind drifts again. It's like I'm not needing that material at that stage. It's kind of like I'm pushing it too hard, and it's not coming to me.
Don't worry. Maybe it is two things. It's just not needed now, right?
Exactly.
Or some entities preventing you from listening. Which way I believe?
It might be that particular piece of information is vital for me, but something's stopping it. Or it could be that I'm just not needing it at that time. I guess I have to use my discernment.
Yeah, give me a break though, because I couldn't read. He gave me that how much I needed to read this revocation. He just prepared for me. Do you know, 3 weeks I couldn't read it.
Oh.
I could not read it. I just 300 words. I could not read it.
Why was that? Did it just
It's the same thing
get
you just
stuck?
said. Yeah,
You couldn't read it. Yep.
I could not face it.
Okay. Yes.
Right.
We're avoiding a lot of things.
At that time, and then I needed a fire. I needed elemental energy to assist me. Yeah.
Well, we identify with the ego. You know, that's those old programs running in us that we've been force-fed for lifetime after lifetime, and so it keeps us from being able to step into our power. It's blocking us, and maybe it's the artificial intelligence or an entity, like you said, Makiko. But you know, that's just more reason, the whole point to do the revocations and learn about ourselves like this.
I had
to overcome that.
I had so many entities, right? And then I'm still dealing with it. So every time I understand that whatever inside it in me or removed from me, there's always something else in me or removed. I realize that now. So I'm not going to ask anything until I know completely what that is. Yeah, well, that's
share
just
that.
I'm sorry, that's just my experience. It's it's not same for everybody else. So.
I share that same thing too. It's like I'll clear, you know, I'll put my boundaries, my sovereignty, my strength, but then I'll be like something else will come in. Something else will come in. You know, it's like a constantly, you know, and then boom, it's instantly spiritual court of equity. You know, I've read them so many times. A lot of it is to memory now.
Yeah,
but I can really say it from my heart and say, you cannot entangle with me.
So I wonder I could do in a sleep because I know someone, our member, he read the whole revocation during astral state and be able to hold his sovereignty. That's
well, you can set an intention at least.
Yeah.
With every breath I take, I read every single page of this is my intention to the entire multiverse while I sleep. I mean, you can micro-intend that literally every breath is reading this to the micro, you know, to the multiverse. If, you know, setting our intentions is, if it works, which I've been told it does, then I can set that intention, right? So how many times do you take a breath in the course of a night's sleep?
That's cool. Nice.
Michelle, it's amazing. You're just like stepping up, like your sovereignty.
That I got from Matt Kahn. He
Oh,
came
Matt Kahn.
the intentions, the micro intention. Like if you every word has whatever meaning you apply to it. So why can't you decide what everything means? You can micro intend like anything. Like every breath I take, or every bite of food I chew today, like people are fed, nourished, whatever. The oceans are cleansed. I do I mostly do them every day, especially for Gaia. Like, so that's where I got that from. I'm not going to take credit for being that.
You could have said to your own. I mean, you don't need to mention him at all. I mean, it's beautifully said. I like that. Thank you. So
hey, well, I just want to say, everybody, I've got to step away.
Yeah, me too.
It's really been a blessing.
Thank you, Zachary.
Everybody here, Harris, Jill,
I probably see you in the next session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing.
Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste. Thanks a lot. That was awesome.
Bye.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
I'd like to see the revocation of the mystery school as well. If that's any way I can get that, I don't know, but
I do have one.
Can you pass me Facebook in messages?
Yeah, I want to tell you the disclaimer before though. Just I want to make sure. It's just again, it's not it's your choice, and it's not good and bad. And then I just want to make sure everybody know about what is a mystery school before. before you revoking. Because if you care, you're probably on it, right? Yeah, yeah, and it does help too. So I just want to make sure I do have it. I will pass it, but I want to make sure you understand how to use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Makiko. Thanks for putting this together for us. It's really wonderful. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Love you.
Thank you.
And nice meeting you. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.